Hi guys, it's Eileen from Now There's a Crafty Idea, and I'm back with the second part of our series on the little Ladybird books, junk journals. So in the last video we did the spine and then we put in the end paper, and I've done a couple of things since then, so I'll go over that with you. What I did was, when it was all dried, I scored it so that it all closes up now, and there you can see we've got a nice cover, and that's a nice sturdy spine as well. So what I've done is I've added a little bit of lace, and I just took a little bit of fabric tack, ran it up the sides and added a little bit of lace, because when these books are closed, the bulk of the signature will pull some of the pages forward, and rather than cut them all down or having to fold pages, I just thought a little bit of lace, it'll give it a nice effect. As you can see, it looks gorgeous, and it'll give us that little bit extra room with our signatures, so that we don't have to worry about keeping everything all cut down and less in our signatures, because we want to get as much as we can in these signatures. These books, because of the width of the spine, are going to be able to hold quite a good size signature. And then I also added a little library pocket on the front. Now all I did was I just took a piece of card, measured it to the size of the front, then I scored down 3 sides, and I just snipped off the corners because we don't want them sticking up. Scored down the sides, snipped off the corners, folded it all in, and then I just used a little oval punch to give us the little bit of the tag top, and that'll be, we'll use a nice tag to fill in there, and maybe this book belongs to, and we might do some collage on there as well, depending. Excuse me, sorry. So the last thing we need, well, there's 2 things I want to do to the cover, and so we'll do the first one. Excuse me. You can see on these covers, along the edges, they get a little bit distressed, and you can see where some of the paper is rubbed off and you've got like a raw edge. So what I've come up with for them is Inca Gold. Now, when I was a kid, you can see the richness of the colours of these books, and that reminds me of all the beautiful gilding and the gorgeous, all the gorgeous vibrancy, and in all these fairy tales. You have to excuse me, hands, I've been inking. In all these fairy tales, you know, you see all this beautiful shimmery gold and crystal and that. So the Inca Gold is going to add a little bit extra sheen to our cover. It's going to cover up some of this damage, and it's just going to make it look gorgeous. So we're going to do that. I've got my big thick hoodie on today because it's a little bit cold. Sorry, it's a little bit cold today. Autumn's definitely on its way, so I'm just going to gild the edges a little bit. My Inca Gold's a little bit dry, I might have to add some water. It's been well used, and it's I've had it a long time. I really should buy a new one, and I'm not being very precise. I don't care if it gets a little bit over the cover. It's just going to add another element, and it's going to take away any of that damage. And in fact, I'm going to run it along the top of the page anyway, just to give a little shimmer. I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but it just gives a little bit of a shimmer. I maybe should have done these edges before I put the lace on, but it doesn't matter. If it gets on the lace, it gets on the lace. It just adds a little bit extra to the lace. I went with a white lace. I was going to put a tea-dyed lace on this, but I thought with all this satiny effect on the pictures, I thought the white actually quite complements that, and that's good. So let's get this bottom edge. I'm getting Inca Gold everywhere. I really do need to buy some new Inca Gold. I'm going to have to get round to doing that. This stuff is amazing, but it dries out. When it dries out, it gets all cakey. Is that a word, cakey? It is now. So I hope you've all been having a great time. I hope you've all been doing lots of crafts and things. The weather hasn't been great in the UK. We haven't had a bad summer. but we seem to be inundated with windstorms at the minute. So, you know, you'd think that's great for the laundry, but I live next to a church, and on more than one occasion I've been chasing my knickers across the churchyard because they've blown off the line. We live very near the cliffs, and there's a big hill behind us as well, so it's just like a wind tunnel in our gardens. But it's nice as well because you do get some lovely seasidey weather. So I'm just gilding all the way around. I'm not going to bother. You see, in this fabric there's actually gold, so this is actually going to pick up the gold of the fabric as well. And it'll just tie it all in. And as you can see now, where there was some damage, we now have nice gold gilding all the way around the book, and that's just going to add to the richness of the book. I'm going to quickly do the inside as well. I'm not bothered about the end papers so much because they're brand new, but I'm sorry if this was going out of focus. My camera for some reason just doesn't want to use its autofocus. I've got a lens of another camera, but I'm trying to figure that one out at the minute. And see, I've got it over there. It doesn't matter because all the gilding is going to look gorgeous anyway. I'm not bothering too much with the corners because I'm going to put some corner protectors on, and that's going to deal with any damage that's on the corners and strengthen the book so that it's going to have a long, useful life. Right, now my fingers are covered with the ink of gold, so rather than just wipe it off, I'm just going to lightly gild anywhere I feel like it, anywhere I think it'll add something. Because like I say, these books are so rich in colour, you know, the more you add, I feel the better they are. Oh, look at all that on there. Oh no, I've gilded me mat. Now on the picture you can see there are various places where there is gold. I'm just going to quickly go over that and just give it a little sheen. It's not a huge amount and you're not going to be able to see it straight away, but as you're using the book you'll just catch it in the light. Use some of this off here actually, and it'll just catch in the light and then it'll just light up that gold. Bit round the trim and that, down the sides of the carriage. This carriage is gorgeous. Imagine when people used to ride about in carriages like that. And I'm just going to do the fairy godmother's wand because that needs a bit of sparkle, and it's not immediately obvious, but as you move the book about you just get a little glimmer, and that's the beauty of the ink of gold. It can be a solid colour or it can just be a nice glimmer. So let's just try and tidy up a bit. Got one of our trusty baby wipes out. Don't know what I'd do without those things. Crafting essential. Let's see if I can get this gilding off me mat. Oh no, I've gilded me mat. Okay. There's another bumble. Oh, moving things about. Okay, so now that I've gilded me mat, now we'll get on to the next stage, and then the final stage for the cover is I want these corners protected. You can see there is quite a bit of damage to these corners. As I said, these are books from children's books, remember, from the 70s and the 60s. This one's from the 60s, I think it was 1964. So yeah, they've had a lot of damage, they've had a lot of use, and the corners will have took quite a bashing. You can see where they've started to round. So I've bought these little corner protectors, and I just got them off Amazon. They're only pennies, and on one side they're just completely flat, and on the other side they've got little teeth in. I'll see if I can give you a close-up on that. There we go. And they've got little teeth in that's going to grip onto the book, and then when we squash them on they're going to be gripped into the book and it's going to be solid, and it'll keep those corners okay. There we go. Right, so I'm not going to go on the lace, and I'm going to put the grips on the inside of the book because I want the neatest side, which is this side, on the outside. So because I've put this lace on first, you can see how it's going to bulk the lace up. So there's a simple solution to that. I'm just going to snip that bit of lace, and then when we put this on now, it should sit nicely underneath. It needs to be just one more snip. I'm just going to take that leaf off. Should have had my smaller scissors, but I forgot to pick them up. So there we go. So all I've lost is a leaf. And then I'm going to pop this on, and that lace is going to sit nice. There we go. Right, trusty pliers. Now the thing with these corners, they're never exactly square, so placement is key. So I'm going to squish the first little tooth down first, and that gives me the stability, and then I'm going to squidge the other one down, and just a gentle push. And then see this corner here, this will need closing. Once you've got your placement right, you just give it all a good squish, and there we got a nice corner protector. And that just, I think that as well, because these are a kind of an antique brass effect. I hope you can see that, kind of an antique brass effect. They're going to go with the Inca Gold, with all the rich colours, all the richness of the book, and they're going to just give it that extra fairy tale edge. Because I just think that with the fairy tale, you know, the more elements you can add like this and the Inca Gold, the more it brings the fairy taleness out of it. Because fairy tales are never drab, so our book shouldn't be either. There we go. Tiny little bit. And we're just going to pop the corner protector on. Now this corner is quite bunched up. I'm just going to give it a squeeze just to get it all down properly. This lace might need cutting a little bit more, but we'll see what we can do with it. So making sure it's on, sorry I'm out of frame, making sure it's on, I'm going to squeeze the first tooth down. Yeah, that lace is going to need cutting. I'm just going to slightly cut the bottom. There we go. And then our placement's good. Just check on the outside. Now this one, it's slightly over the edge, so it's kind of gone a little bit like that. Easy solution. Just get the pliers. Now you've got to be really gentle here because you don't want to cause a problem for the book. Gentle squeeze. That puts it back into place. Give it a good squeeze down. And then close the corner bit. And there we go. And then of course the lace is just going to sit nice there again. So this one I've already cut. Just pop the corner protector on. Get the placement right. And this is also going to grip your end papers, your inside paper as well. So it's going to add a little bit extra help to that as well. Double the job. I'll just check that that's okay. Give it a little squeeze. Yeah, and we're fine. Let's get the corners down. There we go. I hope I'm in frame when I'm doing this. I just need to snip this bit of lace. We're going to lose that leaf. Really should have gone and got my other scissors. There we go. So we're not losing much off the lace, it's just a tiny little leaf. And again, this one's going to have to be cut a little bit more. but that'll sit nice. Right, now, okay, this one's a tiny bit, there we go. Don't worry about that lace though, because it's not going to go anywhere. It's got the fabric tack on and it's all going to sit nice once we've got the corner protector on. So just give it a squeeze and a squeeze. Just check our placement. Yeah, that's good. And then give it a close. Good squeeze just to make sure it's nice and firm. And then we'll just manipulate that lace. There we go. So that's all sitting nicely. Yeah. And then when you look on the outside of the book, we've dealt with any damage. The corners are protected. The gilding covers up any of the rough edges. And the whole thing's really starting to come together now. So that's our cover. And I think that's pretty much finished. There was one last thing I was thinking about. I was using my die cut the other day and testing out some of the folders, the embossing folders. My memory. So I was looking at this and I thought, wouldn't that make a cute pocket? Maybe a bit higher. I don't know if it's too much of a clash. I think it's just too much of a clash and it's going to get lost. Yeah, I think we'll leave that. We might put a pocket on the back at some point, but at the moment I'm happy with that. The cover's finished and we're ready to move on to the next stage, which is dealing with the signatures. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope it was useful, and I'll see you in the next video. So have a great day, everybody. Happy crafting. See you in the next one. Bye.